Hi guys, time for a first on my channel. I'm going to do a favourites video for you. So this is my February favourites. Firstly, I am fully aware that this BB cream does not match at all. Look at that. Boo, ooh, boo, 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 boo. No, it looks awful on me, but it's some of the stuff I got from Pound Store, so I took a punt. But I'm going to keep hold of it because I may, as I think I said it in the last one, I'm going to go on a holiday in a couple of weeks, hopefully somewhere, well, we're going somewhere hot, that's the whole point. Possibly Egypt, possibly the Canaries, not sure yet, as we're going to do a super last minute. I'm going to keep hold of it just in case I get a bit of a tan. I mean, we're only going for a week, so it's not, I don't know, not sure. But, so maybe it'll be a bit better for me then, but at the moment, this looks bad, but I'm not changing it, I'm committing to it. Also, I'm not planning on leaving the house today, so it doesn't matter. I just realised I'm entirely on the piss, hold on. Is that better? Okay, so first, I've only got like one beauty thing because I don't wear it that often. I buy a lot and then I don't wear it for ages. And I often buy so many different cheap things that I'm not using the same thing over and over again. I'll have to start sort of paying attention to it a little bit more. So, firstly is a book. It is called Season of the Witch, How the Occult Saved Rock and Roll by Peter Bebergal. I'll read you the blurb. This epic cultural and historical odyssey unearths the full influence of occult traditions on rock and roll, from the Beatles to Black Sabbath, and shows how the marriage between mysticism and music changed our world. From the hoodoo-inspired sounds of Elvis Presley to the Eastern Odysseys of George Harrison, from the dark dalliances of Led Zeppelin, into the Masonic imagery of today's hip-hop scene. The occult has long breathed life into rock and hip-hop. Writing with vivid storytelling and laser-sharp analysis, Peter Bebergal reveals how esoteric and supernatural traditions became a key part of the emergence and progress of rock and roll. It's an awesome book. It's totally down my alley. I don't believe in any of the occult. I'm an entirely skeptic atheist, but it fascinates me because I'm really interested in mythology, religions, story, folklore, all of that sort of stuff. And all the imagery is really cool because I'm still a bit of a goth at heart. It's got a lot of David Bowie, and I love David Bowie. Yeah, it's just awesome. I read it real quick. It's not a super difficult read. While it is kind of academic, it's not dry at all. It's really nicely written. So yeah, that is available on Amazon in both the States and the UK, and possibly in other places. And I'd like to read some of his other books as well. Okay, now we have a sort of book. Colouring book. This is the Creative Colouring for Grown-Ups 60s Patterns book. You may have managed to glean already that I'm super into the sort of late 60s, early 70s era. It's probably my favourite retro era of the 20th century at least. I don't really do the whole 50s, 40s peppy thing. Oh. Still yawning. Oh, sorry. My phone. This is really cool. I mean, it ranges from sort of Peter Max styles, who and like Yellow Submarine, to some of the more sort of psychedelic, and the sort of what's the word? Art Nouveau styles. It's yeah, I'll do a slower flick through for you, some that I've already started. as you can see. It's really great quality paper. I use pens, and it doesn't tend to bleed through unless I don't know, decided to go really heavy-handed. It's a completed one there. I'm probably not actually going to be able to do much more colouring in as I was in my old job. Another completed one, really cool. In my old job in a call centre, we were allowed to do colouring in at our desks to stop us going too strange. And yeah, and my pens of choice are these, the Stabilo Pen 68. So that's the 68 refers to the pen type itself. I do sometimes use pencils as well. I've got some Crayola colouring pencils, but I prefer these. I prefer pens now. They come in some great colours. They are felt tip. They're not a fine nib, but they're not like a big chunky chisel. And yeah, they've lasted me ages. Like the first set I got were bought for me by my husband for my birthday 2 birthdays ago, maybe even 3. I'm not sure. And I only had to. They started running out about a couple of months ago, and so I bought some more this month, but I've still got some that are still lasted. So yeah, on to our first. Actually, no, I do have 2 kind of beauty items. Excuse the big tear in the paper, but it happened. Coco Loco coconut oil, cold pressed, virgin, 100% raw, organic, from Aldi. This tub was, I believe, $3.99. It's a nice hefty glass jar. I got it at the start of the month, and I've barely touched it. I've been using it on my scalp, on my forehead, so my forehead gets so dry. I used it to take off some really hefty drag makeup. It's great for taking off makeup. Maybe not if you've got oily skin, but I've got dry skin, so my skin was just like, yes, give me the oil, give me the oil. And yeah, $3.99. It's the stuff that, so it's cold pressed, so it still smells of coconut. It's not like the cheaper sort of Asian supermarket stuff, which is like, it's a different refining process, so it doesn't smell of coconut. This does. $3.99 at Aldi. I mean, normally the Vita Coco about this size, which obviously this is trying to rip off clearly, but the Vita Coco I think is about £6, so it's definitely a saving. And smells great. You can use it for cooking. I know my mum uses coconut oil in all of her cooking because she's on a paleo diet, so she prefers to use that for cooking. Yeah, and it's great. As I say, I've used it on my scalp because I get really dry scalp patches, dry forehead, makeup removal. It's good on my tattoos, lip balm. I've used it for massage. Yeah, you name it. Sometimes even chuck a chunk in to my bath, but make sure you do clean it properly before anyone else gets in, because otherwise that is a death trap. Yeah, that's it for the coconut. Now we have some makeup. This is the Illamasqua Fatale palette. If you guys saw my Illamasqua unboxing, you'll know that I recently bought a bunch of Illamasqua in their 70% off sale. I am broke. I'm not a well-off person at all. I cannot afford high-end makeup. So when I got a tax refund, I decided to treat myself to some bits. I still couldn't justify to myself even spending full price for it. I know it's worth it, I just can't do it. I can't do it. Especially when most of the makeup I do is for stage and any subtlety is just gone. So, but I digress. I mean, look at them. It really reminds me of the Bieber makeup that they used to do in the 70s, and they used to do it through to the 80s as well, but mostly sort of the early 70s Bieber makeup, and that Lisa Eldridge has done a couple of really gorgeous videos using original Bieber makeup, and it's just divine. And when I saw this, I was just like, really reminds me of it. I mean, all of the Illamasqua, I really honestly feel like there's such sort of, there's a bit of, I feel like there's a kind of kindred spirit there. It's like in the packaging, it's just so sleek and so elegant. So yeah, and it goes on like a dream. It's really lovely makeup. It smells of cocoa, sort of cocoa butter, which is lovely. A good decent mirror in there, which stands up on its own. Because I don't have a dressing table or anything, so I have to do makeup here on my sofa, or maybe sometimes in the kitchen, but I get such shitty light in the kitchen, it's not even worth it. So being able to prop up, this is what I do behind the camera, and when I'm doing the makeup, is I generally like to sort of prop it up on there, and it's great to have it keep itself open. So yes, that's that. The next is, well, that's it. I'm showing you a single item. It is the item in general that I enjoy. Flares. Look at those. Oh. I have not worn trousers in years because of my shape, my tummy. I've got a big old tum. I'm a big girl. I'm about size 18, 20. And I've got a big old tum. I'm an apple shape through and through. I've got these tiny little wrists and sort of here. I could be any size, but I've got a big old tum. 39-inch waist or something like that. Barely a waist to speak of. And trousers tend to fall down on me. My tum pushes them down. But I've been on such a retro kick recently, you know, with that book. We were ordering that book with that 60s design, really getting into looking at all the lovely Bieber images in there, and just everything. I thought, fuck it, I'll try trousers again, and I bought 2 pairs of flares. I wore one pair, I walked into town, and they still fucking fall down on me. I don't even know if a belt's going to work. I might have to try braces or something. But if it's just for a night out and I'm going to go into town on the bus or something like that, then maybe it's not so bad. And I bought them anyway, because I love them. But then I realised I had no tops, so I had to go and buy a bunch of fucking tops as well. But I shoved it all on my very account, so I don't have to pay it. Not a good idea. Yeah, okay, and I think, lastly, I can't think of anything else, again, is a sort of sweeping section of items. Podcasts. I'm going to try and, this isn't going to work. I was going to try and show you guys my list, but that's not going to work because of reflections, although you can see my camera and maybe even one of my cats in the reflection. I love podcasts. I listen to them a lot. I don't actually listen to that much music at the moment, which is weird because I live my life through music normally. But I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and I have a cat gonna try and jump up on. Oh, Benny, ready? You being cameraman. Don't be a jerk. Yeah, come round. That's it. Oh, it's a good jumpy sounds. Oh yeah, sit with me. That's it. I listen to them a lot in bed. It takes me a long time to get to sleep. My husband falls asleep out like a light, but I take ages. Hopefully that will settle itself down once I start my new job. But yeah, I'll just run through some of the random. I'm not going to go through all of them because there's quite a lot. But There's the Stuff You Should Know and their sister podcasts, Stuff You Missed in History, Stuff Mum Never Told You, Stuff to Blow Your Mind. It'll be their individual podcasts around a specific topic. So, for example, on Stuff You Should Know, the most recent one was Does Whole Body Cryotherapy Work? Missed in History was The Great Vowel Shift, or A Brief History of English. Stuff to Blow Your Mind was The Medusa Nebula, A Monstrous Beauty of Space. And then Stuff Mum Never Told You, the most recent one, was about babysitting. They're all really interesting, and I really enjoy them. Radiolab, they're a really good broadcasting podcast based out of WNYC. They, similar to This American Life, where they just discuss stuff. It's just almost sort of like a magazine, I guess. How Did This Get Gayed? It's about movies. It's hosted by two gay guys, and they talk about movies that are either sort of considered to be queer, considered to be the sort of films that, if they're not made to be queer, then they're pretty queer. The title comes from, there's another podcast called How Did This Get Made, which is talking about crazy movies and just sort of taking the piss, really. Like, nicely, not ripping them to shreds. I kind of got bored of How Did This Get Made, because they were all kind of bitchy and kind of fat-shamey and really mean. So I kind of got bored of them, but I found How Did This Get Gayed, and I find it so much better. It's a lot funnier, they're a lot wittier, they know a lot about the movie before they go in. So yeah. Lexicon Valley is great. It's about words, so lexicon, and about etymology. Answer Me This is a fantastic British podcast where they answer questions. They've been going for years now. They're at the start of the whole podcasting boom. Harmontown, that's Dan Harmon, who wrote Community. Great show, quite a fun podcast. It can go up and down. The Canon is a movie podcast. Smartest Man in the World, which is Greg Proop's podcast. The Allusionist, which again is about words, and that is by the one of the two people that are in Answer Me This. No Such Thing as a Fish, which is by the QI Elves, the TV show QI. It's their researchers. I Was There Too, which is a podcast about films in which the host Matt Gawley discusses how films were made from the perspective of someone with a small but pivotal part in the movie. The Sporkful is about food. It's really cool, really nice, hosted by Dan Pashman. He is really funny, he gets really interesting people in. 99% Invisible is similar to like Radiolab and This American Life, that sort of thing. The Nerdist, they are interviews with so many different people. So the most recent, we've got Angela Bassett, Craig Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Noel Fielding, David Duchovny. Those are the last few ones. This American Life, America Specific, sort of magazine show with normally 3 different stories around a central theme and all relating to life in America. Adam Buxton podcast, it's often interviews with comedians. Adam Buxton is one half of Adam and Joe, a British comedy duo. Hammered Horror, it's just where a couple of guys talk about horror films and get a bit sloshed. Faculty of Horror is fantastic. I'm super into horror movies. I studied film studies when I was in university, and I did sociology when I was in sixth form, doing my A-levels, and it's great. It's an academic look at film, horror films in particular. So, for example, the most recent one they did was Bram Stoker's Dracula and Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the two 90s ones. Before that, there was The Shining. Before that, they had David Cronenberg's Shivers, The Exorcist. Then they talked about Wes Craven, Battle Royale, Hellraiser. Just the whole length and breadth of the horror genre. The Comedian's Comedian with Stuart Goldsmith, that's interviews with comedians. Alan Davis adds Yet Untitled, which is on a Dave TV show, and it's the podcast that accompanies that. Pistol Shrimps Radio is very odd. It's improvised commentary on a ladies' basketball match, or league matches, by Matt Gawley, who runs I Was There Too. Then there's Lore, Lore, which is about folklore stories, often quite spooky. Yeah, it's great, I love it. Fall Asleep With Me is a sleep podcast, a nice, deep-voiced, goofy American guy talks nonsense to you in a soothing manner to help you fall asleep. The X-Files Files, which is Kumail Nanjiani talking about the X-Files with various guests to discuss. The New Yorker Radio Hour is similar to This American Life, that sort of thing, but it's run by the New Yorker magazine. The Indoor Kids with Kumail Nanjiani and Emily Gordon, again, that was last updated in October, so I don't know what's happening there. Super Ego, that is a comedy podcast of improv, these improv guys, including Matt Gawley from other ones. And then Forever Midnight, which is a new one which I have not listened to, which is about horror. However, the most recent one there is about The Witch, which I haven't seen yet, so I'm not going to listen to it. Okay, that was really fucking boring. I'm not really sure what to do with that. Oh, I've got a picture. I did a picture of all of them. I will post that to my Instagram, and that is linked in the description bar, so if you are interested in checking out any of those, you can see the picture and find them. That was really clever of me, even if I do say so myself. Okay, I think that's it. I think I probably bored you. For some reason I don't have the timer going on my screen, so I have no idea how long I've been rambling. So that's it. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna go, because there's a coffee waiting for me, and I need to blow my nose. Thank you for watching, and I don't know why I said it like that, but I'm gonna go now, switching it off, bye!